So, obviously at Urban, we're pretty much obsessed with ROI and cost per sale reporting and measuring kind of those outcomes. And, this feels, when I look at it, it feels cool and new and all the rest of it. But I guess the ultimate thing for every developer is, particularly during the COVID times, is like, what is the return on investment? Is it a increase in sales thing? Is it a reduction in cost thing? Kind of where does that play out? And maybe we'll start with you on this one, Brooke.
Yeah. So when I'm speaking of ROI for our clients, it's purely in the off-the-plan development space, which is where we sit.
Yeah.
So to continue on that longevity project sales cycle, as I explained before, it's just having that ability that if a developer has decided to perhaps put in an immersive experience in their already existing display suite, when construction does start, it has the ability to be pulled down and then put into any location anywhere. So then the agents can keep on selling, which there's also the optimization of agent and buyer time. So being able to view multiple listings in the one location in a shorter amount of time. I guess multiple locations as well, being able to set up these immersive experiences either locally or globally, and also having access to them on multiple devices, as Chris mentioned as well. So, we do the on-screen versions as well. You've got the immersive experiences. You can have it on your phone, iPad, so there's multiple devices that we can access these applications from.
And how many apartment configurations does your average client kind of do?
Do you know what? It really is just, and it's depending on the project, probably like one or two. And then showcasing the common areas is a big thing because, obviously you can't showcase a rooftop terrace pool in a display suite, or your yoga room, or the gym, etc. So, and they're areas of the development that buyers really do want to see, experience, and have that emotional connection to. And overall, look, immersive display suites are a cheaper, more cost-effective option than a traditional, no matter how you look at it.
Cool. And what's your view, Chris? How can people get an ROI from?
Yeah,
you're mostly focused on the web-based experience as opposed with Brooke primarily focused on the VR.
Yeah, and I guess as we mentioned earlier, and totally support Brooke's points as well. It's funny when it comes to ROI. It's a question. It's almost the first question that most clients will ask, and it's the first question that if they're not asking it, they're thinking it, and down the line or the sales cycle, they'll pop in and say, so what are we actually? What's our indicative? And to show you how price driven it is, most of the clients that will either reach out or we contact are so focused on the indicative pricing of what we can do that they almost forget what they're actually getting. So we, to support Brooke's point, the first question we ask is ROI a metric of success for them, and what does that really mean? For virtual property experiences, it's always important to understand the developer's needs and assess the implications. So is it a risk? Is the virtual property inspection an opportunity? Is it something I should buy? Is it something I should copy? Is it something I should do myself? So most developers...
I can tell you're a former consultant.
Yeah.
You sound like a consultant right now.
That's right. Sorry, I'll bring it back to earth. So I guess... But what I'm saying has merit in the sense that some developers we're seeing, and I'm sure Brooke's the same, are actually starting to invest in their own technologies that fit into that space, and they're steering away from the whole we're going to find this approach and we'll actually develop it themselves, which is a positive sign for us in the industry. And when it comes to the ROI that we look at, it's typically threefold. The first, and I guess the most important that we've already touched on, is cost and content. So what we focus on is, initially we started as an add-on cost for most project marketing campaigns, and that wasn't the primary spot we wanted to be found in. So we focused on consolidating a bundle that project marketers can actually visibly get a feeling for the ROI. So that involves getting your rendered images from the model, that involves getting web online tours, having numerous animations, which typically cost $500 a second from where I've seen it, all the way through to the actual virtual immersive experiences that Brooke and I are showing. So that's the first thing. You mentioned a few weeks back on that webinar with John and I think Andrew from CBRE that conversion rates were linked to projects with content, and I guess that was
it's unequivocal that is just 100% the case.
100%, right? So it was
more of that data today, but we're just kind of conscious of the overkill on the content thing. But it's like, if we haven't been clearer, it's like the more content you have, the easier you make it for the buyer, the better the conversion. It's just
in an online world, which is what we're experiencing. That's exactly the point. And I think that the ability for the models and I'll drill it in just in case it was understated, but Brooks the same as well. It's the ability to generate so much content out of those models at such a lower price point. When they see the figures and the benchmarks, which we'll get to a bit later, I guess, you can actually clearly see what the ROI is if you're measuring it by cost. Brand lift and lead generation is another one that we find some developers just want to improve how they're positioned in market and come across in a more compelling manner. And that's certainly upside based on real-time modeling. It doesn't get much more real than that. And I guess the third point is return on optimization. So, or return on experience, as we like to put it, and instead of a return on investment, how is the customer experience being governed with this new tech, and why should they substitute what they're doing at the moment? So they're probably the most compelling points that we're finding.
Yeah, I think, people talk about the disruptive kind of platforms and things. In my view, the agent is going to be part of the transaction for a very, very long time, and that's going to continue to be the case. Where I think the kind of change is going to occur is that more of the journey is going to occur online. These type of technologies undoubtedly are only going to improve. When you look at, Moore's law, which says that microprocessors will get half the size and half the cost every 2 years. There's just no doubt that the underlying kind of, or the tailwinds that impact this technology from a cost perspective and from a quality perspective are the future, without a doubt. And it's kind of working out what places to sit within the broader kind of marketing and sales kind of stack for most developers.